There's a man that comes through real heavily, and he's just kind of showing me basically my symbol for getting to live like closer to middle age, but not really reaching my elderly age. They are for some reason having me talk about, like on Dad's side, there's this individual who would have really been heavily involved in like fishing, and this keeps coming in as like making fishing trips, doing the fishing, it's coming in. Would anyone connected on Dad's side of family have any connections to this object? Perfect. There was this reference to a lot of emotional instability. Sometimes if people end their lives or take their own life, obviously that can sometimes kind of contribute.
Oh, my dad, he broke his back, and he happened to have a really rare blood disorder that kept him from healing, similar to hemophilia. It doesn't allow you to clot your blood. And so he was slowly, for years, getting platelet transfusions and they put rods in his back, everything. And eventually they said, you're gonna be a paraplegic and then a quadriplegic, and then you're gonna die. And there's nothing we can do about it. And so my dad decided to take matters in his own hands because he was in a huge amount of pain every day. He couldn't work anymore. He felt like he was just a drag on the family. And he was very much like a person who takes care of everyone. I just bring up memories of him all the time so I don't forget them, because I don't want them to fade.
I'm gonna keep going with this. Your dad's having me talk about the timing of his death. And then for some reason, your dad's having me talk about you as a younger person. And there's this emphasis on learning. And it's like this death happens. And the feeling is like still having to kind of get past this. They're trying to give me a message, and I can't make it change. Earlier, there was the fishing reference for some reason. I don't know why they're putting an emphasis on this. Did that mean anything in context?
Inopportune time, I was overcoming a speech problem. I had a difficult birth. I had the umbilical cord around my neck and had like delayed speech development. I didn't really start talking until I was 6. And to get me to talk, the therapist said, make me go do stuff, but come do things. So my dad would take me fishing. And then one of the stories my mom likes telling me is that it was raining cats and dogs outside. And I was like in the living room, like fishing pole, everything. And they're like, Ronnie, what are you doing? And the only words that I could say were, I go fishing. And like, yeah, that was something we would do all the time. When I was younger, they thought I had autism. I was only walking on my tiptoes. I wasn't speaking. Like, everybody was really worried. And my dad would always be like, oh, no, don't worry about it. She's a sleeper. She'll show everybody. And I'd gone from not speaking to being like the star of our school play. I was actually really smart, and I just couldn't talk. And I'd become like really active in doing sports and stuff like that, because that was a thing that me and my dad did. And so when he passed, I did judo with the intention of winning the Olympics in it, because he told me I could.
Okay, perfect. So I do have to mention the man that would be coming through on Mom's side. We're gonna go to Grandpa's generation. There's a man that's coming through that would be referencing to not wanting to be kept alive artificially and an acknowledgement of like hospitalization. So it isn't like quick or fast or sudden. It's more of a reference to like, I'm in the hospital, and almost a feeling of like declining this or like insisting, take me home. Like I don't want to go. I'm in the hospital.
That was our grandfather.
Yeah.
Pop, yeah.
And like he was insistent.
Yeah,
like,
oh, he was.
Yeah. And he like was not going to pass until, you know, he had it his way. And when he comes across, like he was like, I'm not doing hospital. I just can't do this. The feeling that he gives with this for me is a feeling of like, I'm gonna pass away anyway. Why remind him of it while I'm still here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So that's kind of the personality.
So
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so him.
you nailed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So please know that he's around and he loves you both so much. From his perspective, he feels like he was loved. He acknowledged that he knew that his hand was being held, and that came through.
Oh, yeah.
And he was so appreciative of that. He's so
He
sweet.
was the best.
Oh my gosh.
He really was.
He's
Yeah.
a great man.
I think it was just amazing how much Tyler expressed the love he had for us, he has for us, and that our family has for us. And I thought that was such an important message because, you know, we're always going to city and town to town, and we're always surrounded by all these new people. Sometimes you have to, like, just take a breath and stop, and then to realize that love, you know, you have around you.
Okay, oh, I'm so glad. Okay, something that came through weeks ago is actually gonna connect to Carrie. I got a reference to Frank Sinatra, like way back. But there's a reference to Frank Sinatra, and then I'm getting a reference for my symbol of like Fly Me to the Moon. And there's a reference to a song there.
My grandfather would always tell us that he loves us.
Over the moon, under the sun, and in and out of the stars. So when he mentioned the Fly Me to the Moon,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. That was like really amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. He loved listening to Frank Sinatra.
Right.
So my boyfriend and I love now listening to Frank Sinatra.
Nice.
Yeah, we listen to it all the time.
I do have to mention there is a reference. He is acknowledging that he's with a child on the other side that hasn't been born yet. But what's interesting, this child will be born over the course of the next 2 years. I don't know who it's for, but it's coming through. So please know that's his way of saying pregnancy. It's a child that has yet to be born. I believe that where we go when we pass is also the same place that we come from before we enter this world.
No. I'm trying.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
It is not even remotely impossible. I think, if anything, it's incredibly likely.
Okay.
So it's really exciting.
It's been a long time waiting.
Yeah.
So.
Seriously.
Yeah. I think you guys are on the right track. I'm excited. Absolutely. There's a lot coming through that I have to distinguish. You've got that, and that. Okay. I really want to connect to this energy more, just because there's a lot there that This energy that's coming through, for whatever reason, is just acknowledging that there's the reference to the chest. And I don't know why I'm going to the chest so much, but this feels quick. I'm going too fast. I basically, for whatever reason, the back of my head is hurting, and then I'm getting the front of my chest. So why would my chest be hurting with this person?
Because that's the initial impact for the person.
Okay. The strange thing about this particular person's passing is that they're referencing to the fact that when they passed away, the timing of it, I feel like there's a celebratory kind of a tone to it. And that's kind of the weird thing. There shouldn't be a celebratory tone to passing. But what's being acknowledged is that when I die, there's a reference to a time frame of like what should be a positive time, what should be a fun time, isn't. And that's the way that it comes across. Celebratory, almost, like excited, like this feels like this should be a really good thing, and then I feel like a tragedy strikes in this.
Yeah, but it was my Uncle Owen. His name was Owen Hart.
Wow.
And he was also a wrestler in WWE. And he was in an accident in the ring. And so it happened in front of about over 10,000 people. So when you talk about being a celebration and a party, it was at a big wrestling event.
Wow.
So there's a lot of excitement and hoopla around it. Because we were all watching it at home. And it was an accident, but, you know, it was just tough for the family to go through because there was that tension of, like, all the family was fighting because people didn't know whether they should stay in wrestling or would it be dishonoring Owen or, you know, but our families loved wrestling for 50, 60 years. You know, it's like the family business.
For sure.
So, you know, hopefully Owen would be happy that we're happy.
Absolutely. And he so deeply was passionate about as well. And so for him, I mean, that's something that he would want everyone else to continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he got a lot of enjoyment from it. Regardless of what happened with his passing, that's something that gave him fulfillment.
Yeah,
and he knows gives others fulfillment, so absolutely.
It's kind of what I feel. I do a lot of things in my matches to, you know, honor him and stuff like that. So.
That's amazing. I have no doubt that they all see that and are aware of that and are so incredibly proud of you for just doing this career and doing what you love and sticking with your passion.